Hey guys, Angry Monkey here.
And Jackson Farrell from Hot Pile of Garbage.
Doing some more 999. We're still in door 8 with Lotus and Clover.
Yep.
And Clover's still stuck behind the portcullis.
But maybe if we plug in this power cable, we can get her out. Alright, I've got the two-pronged power cable in my hand. I'm pretty sure this will work. Under the desk I go. And let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, that ought to do it.
Alright, let's turn the power on!
I don't think anything's going to happen.
Why not?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer.
You never know until you try!
Pretty optimistic.
Wow, Lotus was right.
Yeah.
Junpei pushed the button on front of the monitor. With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen. He had hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
Huh? It's actually working?
So it would seem.
Isn't that kind of weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right? There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display!
Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus.
A wireless display?
Yes, it connects your to your computer wirelessly. Hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei?
Me no caveman. He most certainly had not, but...
Is that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
As they spoke, the lines of letters suddenly stopped and disappeared.
Spooky action at a distance.
The only thing left on the screen was the word pass, followed by a colon.
Pass. Word.
Looks like we need to enter a password.
Word.
Again. Did you hear Santa?
No, you must be imagining things. Are you okay, Junpei?
I'm fine. There must be a hint around here somewhere.
Can you go take a look?
There it is again.
What?
I'm on it. I'm on it. What are you going to do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
I seem to be hearing Lotus from another room.
Yeah, I'm over here.
On your own?
Yep, on my own.
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself onto it in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left then right. In that order, left and then right.
Alright, let's kick some booty.
Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Then, before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed, the click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire.
What?
Junpei was, for once, at a loss for words.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Of course I didn't. What kind of job do you have? What are you?
I'm unemployed at the moment. I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit.
Why?
Lotus blinked.
Huh? Oh, it was just something.
She stopped typing for a moment, and her face fell. This was not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized, and quickly shut his mouth. Lotus's fingers began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. As she typed, more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen.
What are you doing now?
I'm going to try and brute force it.
Brute what? This really is the dumb brute.
A brute force attack is, well, the short version is that I just attack the thing head on. The long version...
Without looking up or slowing down, she began to explain. A brute force attack is one of the simplest ways to break a cipher, she told him. It checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very long time. The thought of doing something like that made Junpei feel tired, but Lotus explained that she was writing a program that would run just such an attack on its own.
It's not the most elegant solution, certainly, but given the circumstances, there isn't much else I can do.
Even as she talked, her fingers never slowed or missed a key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little awed.
Oh, but back to what we were talking about earlier.
What were we talking about?
The wireless display. It's kind of strange if you think about it, isn't it? How do I put it? Well, let's say you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you, alright? So you enter 1 plus 1. The screen will show you 2. See? Isn't that strange?
No, not really. It's strange that you think it's strange.
Oh, come on now! Of course a caveman like you would think it's strange.
Me no caveman!
You said so just a minute ago. You're just not getting it, are you? Who calculated 1 plus 1?
The main computer, right? You said it's connected to the monitor wirelessly.
Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? They'd probably think this thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they've decided that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke the screen or something. Ah, I see. The color changes when I press it here. And they might investigate the hardware on the inside. Ah, I see. So this wire supplies power. Eventually they might cut the wires. Ah, yes, just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore, it must be this device which does the calculations.
Ah.
But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that, because they had no idea that the monitor and the computer are connected wirelessly.
What is she even talking about? Lotus continued to type.
I think she just wanted to talk about cavemen.
I mean, cavemen are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Junpei scratched his head.
I was surprised that she was writing a program, but that does make sense because brute force attacking a password thing manually. Have you ever tried that? Well, it's a good idea not to, because if you can imagine typing in everything, starting with like all the A's, then A B, A C, would take a long time, even if you're a fast typer like Lotus.
Yeah.
It's
because we don't know on how long exactly that the password is. I mean, if it's one of those where it's okay, it's 6 characters, then that eliminates significantly what you need to type in. But if it's one of those where it could be up to 20 or 30 characters long based on whatever the password is, and then not only do you have letters involved, but there's numbers mixed in there too.
Yeah, there are tons and tons of possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much one of those literally infinite possibilities.
Yeah. I've thought about making a Twitter account that tweets every possible tweet, but I don't know how to automate that, and as relates to this, I am not going to do that manually.
Yeah.
Anyway, video games. So, what are you trying to say?
Nothing. Really. It's just, I thought maybe, what if the relationship between human beings and our brains is like that?
Huh?
Well, let's say you stick a bunch of electrodes into parts of the brain. A scientist examining the signals they send out might say, interesting, so stimulating this part of the brain causes the person to see colors. That must mean this neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Ah, just what I thought. Cutting off this part causes that function to cease. Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain. You get it? It's just like this monitor. Maybe the brain is just an output device like this monitor. Maybe our thought processes actually occur somewhere else, in a main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications. We can't imagine that there's some unknown medium that transfers information into our brains where we experience that information as thoughts.
Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument just seemed silly, and he was a little surprised to be hearing something like that from someone like her.
Lotus just proved the existence of the soul.
The brain, just an output device? Human thought actually occurs somewhere else? Did Lotus really think that, he wondered? It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded altogether too much like a bizarre, cultish religion.
Everyone knows that ontological materialism is the only reasonable philosophical policy.
Maybe that's the cause of Seven's amnesia.
Oblivious to Junpei's increasing discomfort, Lotus continued.
If memory is actually stored somewhere else, in some sort of main body somewhere, maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories because the monitor, his brain, has been damaged. I suppose that would explain aphasias and blindsight, too. Perhaps they actually can speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. I guess people with prosopagnosia could be suffering from the same thing.
I've never heard of that. Hopefully she'll define some of her words. What? What?
He knew what
Aphasia.
Aphasia. He knew what aphasia was from watching medical dramas on TV, and blindsight was easy enough to guess, but he never heard the word prosopagnosia. Prosopagnosia before.
Okay. I think prosopon is Greek. You know, maybe she'll explain it.
Well,
But
if she
not-
doesn't, I know what it is from.
Yeah, and I can poke around at the Greek components of the word. if
Lotus
necessary.
spun around her chair to look at him. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head.
Nope. What is it?
Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces.
Oh, prosopon is like, I think it's like mask or personality. Like they use it for the actors in a Greek play. It's the Greek word for that. And then agnosia is not gnosia, knowledge. So no knowledge of persons. Brilliant.
In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means that people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to. Usually they can make do by associating people with other things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair.
Does that mean other people's faces look like blanks?
No, I don't think so. You've seen monkeys, like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same,
No, I don't.
even though they've obviously got faces. It's almost impossible for a human to distinguish between them.
I take offense to this.
The zoo staff that works with them would have to learn to identify different monkeys eventually, but you or I couldn't, unless one had a scar or something else to set it apart, like anger. That's how people would be to someone with prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia, huh? Didn't even know that kind of thing existed.
Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head.
And, what were we talking about?
The idea that your brain is just an output device, like a monitor.
Are you serious about that stuff?
Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it.
Just like in the Funyarempa room, just one of those, do you believe that stuff? Psych!
What about the other half?
Well, I guess I was just adulting.
Not funny.
Lotus's smile had something rather masochistic to it.
It's nothing more than a story I made up out of boredom. Don't take it seriously. it was the first thing that came to mind, and I just talked about it to kill time. But it looks like we don't need to talk about it anymore.
Kill time in this game with a time limit on it. Brilliant, Lotus. Why?
I don't have to kill time any longer.
As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high and brought it down to the enter key. The program took only seconds to analyze the system. Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession, and then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared, and all that was left was the word accepted.
Piece of cake.
Lotus would clearly have patted herself on the back if it would not have made her look entirely ridiculous. Good job, me! After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared to be replaced with 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 square.
What the parts of a square is that?
No idea. It looks like a puzzle.
Suddenly, Lotus stood up.
Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
I can't do any more. It won't let me do any more programming. See, the keyboard. Nothing. So there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Let me take a break, alright? I did my part. My throat is killing me.
He wasn't sure what to say to that.
So do we want to stop it here, or
Yeah.
I mean I think we're almost done out of this room, maybe, but I don't know how long that would be.
Let's break and pick this up next episode.
Okay, so wow, that was a lot of Lotus dialogue in that episode.
Yeah, I feel like a champion.
Everybody watching this,
clap,
yeah.
clap for me.
In the comment section, put clap, 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 clap,
Yeah.
clap, 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 clap,
You have to include every one of those.
clap, 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 clap.
Yeah. Interactivity. Woo!
Yay! Goodbye.